This show is presented by the 323 Network. You can watch all your favorite 323 friends and shows on the 323 Network YouTube channel, follow us on all social media platforms at 323Reid, and support us as we continue to grow at patreon.com/323Reid. That's 323REID.
I worked so hard on my game.
Oh, did we forget about the game?
Yeah, I just thought you wanted to do like a separate recording or
We're
something.
still
So I was like, I'm not
recording.
going to say anything and ruin the
We're
vibe.
still here.
Fuck it, do it live.
Fuck it. Here he goes.
The one time I'm on early, we start 45 minutes late. The one time I prep a game, I completely forget about it. What the fuck, dude?
All right, you're the host, Zoo.
All right.
We'll throw it in.
Well, as you guys
Oh, now we can give you a hard time.
Hey.
Just how I like it. All right. Well, as you guys know, the quarterback position is the most valuable position in football. And one of the issues is that they get overdrafted. Some people are just so desperate to finally have some hope for a partial winning season that they just grab quarterbacks early, even though they have other holes in their schemes. They don't want to rely on free agency, and they're hoping that they can find their franchise through there. So what I did is I took a list of quarterbacks I have a list of quarterbacks that were drafted from 2020 until now that have had consecutive starts with their teams in the NFL. What we're going to do is I put these names into a randomizer. I'm going to say the name. And if all 30 of these quarterbacks were available in the 2025 draft, knowing what you guys know about them now, where would you pick them?
Ooh.
I'm very intrigued.
Ooh.
I'm
All right.
down.
We're going to start off with the fun one that I'm sure Scott would love. And
Uh-oh.
this gentleman was picked in the 3rd round and has only had 5 starts. What did you guys think of Malik Willis?
Reid, you want to take this one first, or you want me to take it first? Sorry, I know my answer.
I can go with this one since you're ready with an answer. Malik Willis, I'm not gonna say I hated him. I didn't hate him. I didn't really care about him in Tennessee, but I didn't think that he was any type of good in Tennessee. He impressed me a little bit in the combine, and I think he's somebody that if you play him into the right position or like the right team in the right scheme, like we're seeing with Green Bay and Matt LaFleur, and how Matt LaFleur was able to get a little bit out of him in that second game, he could be decent. He'll be a good backup quarterback, but I don't think anything particularly special with him. Scott?
If you're asking me straight up where I would draft him, knowing what I know now, undrafted free agent.
Fair enough.
I was wondering how long it would take for an undrafted to come up.
That one.
Right off the
Like
bat.
you said, athleticism-wise, he has really great intangibles, but like as far as being like a top-tier NFL quarterback, it's not there. He's a competent backup. I'll give him that, but still, I wouldn't waste draft stock on him.
Yeah, if I had to give a draft position on it, I'd say 6th round. I could give him 6th round.
Yeah.
All right, the next one was actually drafted in the 5th round and has had 3 starts in the NFL. What do you think of Dorian Thompson-Robinson?
Ooh.
Scott,
See,
I'll give you-
I was a lot higher on Dorian Thompson-Robinson coming out into the draft. What round was he again?
5th.
I'm fine with keeping him at 5. I think he's the same thing there. He's an athletic quarterback. He can learn an offense. You don't expect a lot out of him, but yeah, 5th round. I was perfectly fine with him being in the 5th round.
Yeah, I would call him a steal necessarily in the 5th round. I thought originally he'd go like maybe 4th round. Maybe somebody would reach at 3rd, but yeah, 5th seems comfortable for him. He's got the potential to develop into something decent, something nice. You know, if like a team was really building on him, and I like him in the spot he's in Cleveland, especially now being the 3rd string, and can actually just sit and learn the game and hopefully learn against and in spite of Deshaun Watson. But yeah, 5th round is comfortable there.
All right. Speaking of 5th rounders, this person has had 18 starts in the NFL before he got traded to another team. He is the first quarterback since Kirk Cousins to actually start for a whole season. What did you guys think of Sam Howell?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Sam Howell. I almost... Oof.
I'll let you take that first.
I almost bought a jersey of his because it was half off at one of these sports stores. And I was like, I liked Sam Howell enough. He was drafted what round again? It was 5th round. I don't hate 5th round for him, to be honest, but I'm honest to God, I'm gonna say 4th round.
Okay.
Sam Howell. I think he is a decent enough quarterback who, was able to start confidently. He was not perfect, but the O-line wasn't great. That team wasn't great. I am kind of curious as to how he would look in the scheme and the fit of this season's Washington Commanders. I like 4th round for Sam Howell. I think he's still going to be a good quarterback in this league.
Yeah, late 4, early 5 for him. I mean, yeah, he threw for almost 4,000 yards that season. I mean,
due to lack of option, but yeah.
Right. I mean, threw just as many touchdowns as he did interceptions, but I think that just speaks more to him being the most sacked quarterback in the league that year, and they had a lot of dysfunction throughout the whole team. It wasn't so much on Sam at that point. But to Reid's point, yeah, I would actually really enjoy to see what he would do production-wise in this version's Commanders team. I like him being in Seattle. He's sitting behind Geno. He can learn off of a crafty veteran like him. I don't think we've seen the last of Sam Howell in the league.
All right, so this person was picked in the 2nd round, has had 13 starts, and is on a run of making a meme every week. How are we feeling about Will Levis?
Ooh, that's Scott's boy. I'll give you that.
Oh God, no. That even then I felt like he was drafted way too high. I think the Titans just took a reach on him. It's just so weird because he's one of these players who, he's had different offenses just in this short time frame that he's been in the NFL. He's had different head coaches at this point. But at 33rd overall, way too high. Give me mid 4 range on him.
All right.
I can't help but agree on that one. I think he's starter level. He's a starting level quarterback, but I didn't think he should have gone as high as he did in that draft class. I think that he was a heavy reach kind of player, especially if you remember in the pre-draft process when teams were talking about him being a potential top 5 pick. They were talking about him as a potential number 1. It was crazy just because of the arm strength and he has personality that he was getting reached up this high to the point he even went 33rd. No, he's like a 4th. He's like a 4th or 5th round kind of quarterback, competent enough to start, but going to make enough mistakes that he's not going to last as that starting quarterback, and especially when his new head coach, fucking hates him apparently.
Well, and I'm trying to remember who the next quarterback off the board would have been after that. It probably was Stetson Bennett, I think. So it's at that point you're reaching, absolutely, but it's that quarterback draft class in 2023 was absolute hot garbage.
Yeah, I think Stetson may have been the next one, and that one, and he's not on my list because he hasn't had starts. But the one that's on my list after that was a 4th round, so we went from 2nd all the way to 4th.
Right.
All right, the next one that we have is the NFL's current sweetheart. He's had 4 starts. Our pride and joy, Jayden Daniels. Has he justified being the number 2 overall pick?
This is early, Scott. You tell me.
One word, absolutely. As he is right now, you draft him that high for production, and you have him leading a 3-1, going to be 4-1 Washington Commanders team after this week. I mean, you can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we can see the stuff here. I'm not gonna be total fanboy on this. As a complete realist, he went number 2 overall, and you had Mina Kimes, one of our favorite analysts in football and in sports media, talking about how she talked, and Diana Rossini was also corresponding this, that there were a lot of teams who did believe, and maybe they're saying this now, but maybe they told her back then that they believed that Jayden Daniels should go over Caleb Williams. At this point in the season and this point into their very, very, very young early careers, yeah, I honestly, I would move Jayden up one spot to number 1 overall and believe that he should have been that number 1 overall quarterback.
Very nice.
I mean,
very
through
nice.
4 games, I mean, he's thrown for over. I think he's over the 80% completion mark right now.
He is.
I mean, he's knocking on the door at 1,000 yards. So like, and that was his biggest knock coming into the NFL, was if he was going to be a competent NFL quarterback through the air, not so much on his legs. And I mean, if you're throwing for 80% completion rating, like, you're doing what you should be doing.
Yeah.
I want to look it up really quickly over what the actual stat was, but there was an insane stat about Jayden Daniels' incompletions. Yes, Jayden Daniels, this is going from Barstool Sports
Has
right
more
now.
touchdowns than incompletions.
Yes, he has more scoring drives, 23 scoring drives. He has more scoring drives than incomplete passes. He has 19 incomplete
23,
passes.
19.
That is insane.
I mean, he
Giants.
almost went damn near perfect against Cincinnati. I mean, I think it was like 2 incompletions, 3 incompletions.
I think it was
against
2
Cincinnati.
incompletions in Arizona as well.
Yeah.
Because I kept saying every play, he still hasn't thrown an interception. He still hasn't made an incompletion.
And I was so happy, actually, for him to finally throw that interception, because I wanted him to just get that kind of monkey off his back.
And it was a good look, too. Like, it wasn't even a dumb play. The defender made a really solid play on that.
Right.
Terry had an opportunity, and it was, deep in their territory. He had... That was a good effort. It wasn't a stupid play. I wasn't mad about it.
No.
So, speaking of number 2 overall picks, this person was traded away after 33 starts. How do we feel about Zach Wilson?
Trash. Hot fucking garbage. That's what I think about Zach Wilson. And his younger brother's coming up now through college football, and everyone's trying to hype him up right now. He is the quintessential, he won at the combine. You know, he went out there, he did his thing, and that's what got him that draft selection. He has the most games, I think, of any of the quarterbacks you've named so far. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, we've seen enough of Zach Wilson, and he needs to just go away.
Yeah, I think that's the highest number of starts that I've said so far.
Yeah, I'm not going to justify his draft position. I'm not going to, try to justify going in the first round. I would honestly, and I'm not a BYU homer. I didn't even go to Provo. I went to Idaho, but I still root for BYU. I watched Zach in college a lot, and Taysom Hill was a very impressive quarterback at BYU. Zach Wilson was awesome, and I think he has the tools. I think he still has the potential. I think he could be a serviceable quarterback in this league, just like what we saw with Geno Smith with the Jets too. We saw Geno Smith look shitty. I think Geno Smith's position is justified. Forgive me if he's coming up at some point, but I think Zach should have been
this is just from 2020
okay.
till now.
All right, I think Zach should have been a second-round quarterback. I could see him as a mid to late second-round quarterback, as somebody who should have been properly developed, sitting behind somebody for a little bit and learning. I would have loved to have seen him. I would have loved for him to have gotten that full year behind Aaron Rodgers last year. I think that was the whole plan, and he wasn't ready for it. You should have had a backup quarterback, a better backup quarterback ready to go before him. But I think if he had learned behind somebody like Rodgers, or even sat behind Mahomes or something for a season, or 2 seasons, just let him develop and learn. He's got all the tools to be a really good quarterback.
And
so you're saying second and Scott's saying UFA?
Yes, he's in the Canadian Football League. No, I would give him, to Reid's point, yeah, I think he didn't get a good shake at it. I mean, 3 years in the Jets, and we've seen what's been going on with the Jets the last couple seasons. I feel like if I would roll the dice on a early 4, and like Reid said, maybe develop. But I want a question for you, since we are talking about that 2021 draft right now. How completely devastating is that top 4 picks from that draft? You have Trevor Lawrence, followed by Zach Wilson, then Trey Lance, and then Kyle Pitts. How could you, at this point, 3 of the 4 are seemingly misses.
it's. I don't want to say it's one of the worst draft classes in terms of quarterbacks ever, at least in that top 4. But goddamn, like, I mean, the reach on Trey Lance was insane. Zach Wilson, like we just agreed, should not have got, like, that was a draft day boost for him. That was a combine boost for him. Shouldn't have been that high. Should be a second to third round. And I'll pull back a little bit too, where I'm not defending Zach's career. Like, he has been hot garbage. He was ass. He was trash with the Jets. He should be a backup right now. Should be a third string. He's lucky that he is, honestly, with how he performed and looked just completely incompetent with the Jets. But I think those tools and that potential is still there, that ability to redeem and bounce back like Geno Smith. Geno Smith is going to forever be my point of contact here on quarterbacks who can redeem themselves and build and grow. Trey Lance, I don't know. You're talking about that class. Trey Lance, he's messy.
Do you want to just skip to that one while we're at it?
Yeah, fuck it, why not?
Trey Lance, he never should have been drafted. I wouldn't even waste a free agent training camp slot on him. No, he's fucking terrible.
I'm giving a UFA for the sake of doing something.
Well, it's like, I don't understand why people started like hyping him up so much, because
why Shanahan started hyping him up so much.
It didn't make any sense. I couldn't find the justification behind it, because like I saw the tape from college and he never looked good. So when people started coming out of the woodwork and really hyping him up, I got so confused about where this was all coming from. Yeah. But yeah, no, he's gross.
Yeah, I mean, like, the amount of, like, just like you said, he didn't have that much production in college. It was simply just like he looks good and we're scrambling. Like, we need something. I don't think Kyle Shanahan wanted Trey Lance. I think he got pressured into that. I think they got pressured into that. I really do still believe they wanted Mac Jones. And I think Mac Jones would have fit that offense a lot better. But yeah, no, Trey Lance is trash, man. He should have been like one of those Dorian Thompson-Robinson or like Malik Willis types that we're talking, like a 6th to 7th round pick that you just fuck it, like it's like fuck it, why not kind of picks and see what he can turn into. But yeah, the pressure of putting him at that high of a draft pick never was gonna work.
I'll put him as 7 for you since we're shitting on him so much. All right, so this next person is one of my 2 outliers because he actually hasn't had an NFL start yet. But with all of these names mentioned, did Drake May deserve to be as drafted as high as he was?
I agree with how they're handling Drake May in New England. I'm glad they're not just throwing him out there and having him fend himself off to the wolves. But I still feel that was, to Reid's point, like, with a couple quarterbacks we were talking about, I feel like that was just a reach. Like, we all... What other quarterback this past draft are you really sold on outside of, Jayden Daniels and, I don't know. I'm trying to think what another quarterback that just came out.
Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Michael Penix.
Yeah, I mean, even Caleb Williams, I think, he got propped up because of the hardware and the production that he was able to do in a Lincoln Riley offense in USC and also Oklahoma. But the most pro-ready was Jayden Daniels, and Drake May was kind of like the afterthought, kind of you're going through the potluck and you just happen to see, oh, there's only a little bit of mac and cheese left. Let me grab this before somebody else takes it.
Yeah. That's just... I can't fully disagree on that. Like you said, the way that the Patriots have handled it, I think it's the right way. I think it's how you should handle your rookie quarterbacks, especially these ones with potential. But no, I would have taken Drake May. I would have pushed him back to about the 2nd round. I would have if he had fallen to the 2nd round, I think that's a solid pickup and sit and develop, and there's no pressure on him. I think right now we're already seeing it with the Patriots, where there's a lot of pressure to go ahead and start Drake, even though it's a bad idea. Everybody knows it's a bad idea. The Patriots know that it's a bad idea, but the fans are just clamoring and impatient and want to throw him out there, and I think that you have a high potential for him to fail if you throw him out on that team that they've put out right now. It's not going to work.
Entertain us. Scott, what was your number?
For Drake, 3.
Okay.
3rd round? Yeah, 3rd round.
Yeah, early 3rd.
All right, so this next person that we have, as he came up on the stage on his draft day, he exclaimed, "Oh, this is what I wanted!" It was an absolute shit show of a couple of seasons. Got traded away to the Jaguars. 42 starts. How did we feel about Mac Jones?
Thunder thighs.
That man had some thighs.
Yeah, I mean, he
Where did he get?
Way too high.
Where did he go again?
first round. Yeah, he's another one of those guys I would take like in the early 4s, maybe late 3s if you're really trying to reach on a quarterback there. I still don't think this is the last we're going to see of Mac Jones. I'm still going to hold firm on my hot take to begin the season that he's going to eventually take over there in Jacksonville. I just don't have that much faith in him of, sustained success in the NFL.
I looked at Mac Jones as kind of a Kirk Cousins type quarterback coming out of college. He was perfectly reliable and serviceable at Bama. He was I'd say a very good quarterback. I wouldn't have said first round. I think he was one of those really solid second or third round quarterbacks. I'd say third, just in terms of how a little more limited he was, with his skill set. Give me third round as somebody who, if he was a third round quarterback and was starting, that would have been overjoy for a team with the performance that he gave.
Well, and I also feel what kind of fucked him over at the tail end of his stint in New England was he was dealing with checked out Belichick. He just you could tell those 3 seasons there in New England, Belichick just didn't care anymore.
No.
He had a great rookie season. I think that's one thing that people forget is that he had a really good rookie season. I believe Pro Bowl. He might have gotten to Pro Bowl off of some kind of cheap technicality because somebody else didn't want to go. But
flag.
And then
he broke out the gritty at the Pro
Bowl. He did break out, and then he was second behind Jamar Chase for Offensive Rookie of the Year that season too. Yeah. So I think, like I said, he's gonna be this generation's, like you said, Kirk Cousins. He's gonna get all these guaranteed deals and just find work to do. But as far as being a superstar, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this next person has been plagued by a lot of injuries, a shitty O-line, and really slow starts by his team to the season. He's had 56 starts in the NFL, not including all of his playoff appearances and his Super Bowl appearance. How do we feel about Joe Burrow?
Ooh. Honestly, I keep Joe right where he's at. Where he's at. He's shown me everything. He really has shown me everything that he has in college. Excuse me. I mean, it's like he's not. When it comes to college, you look at everything he has and you're playing against college kids. Sure, you're going to dominate. You're going to win shit. He took the Bengals to the Super Bowl in spite of a terrible offensive line. Dude still is Joe Cool, where he's under pressure. He's getting hurt. He's getting the shit knocked out of him in games and is still able to, display this coolness and this prowess and this awareness for where he's at and still deliver fantastic plays. So I am perfectly fine with where Joe was drafted.
Right, and not even so much on his play on the field, but if you look at that 2020 draft, because that was the same one with Tua and Justin Herbert, and I think Jordan Love was in that draft. I'm fine with keeping him at 1 simply because naming the quarterbacks that I've named, is there a clear person that you would take over Joe Burrow at that? Knowing what we know about all these quarterbacks, is there any of these quarterbacks you would have taken over him at this point? And I can't definitively say yes. Maybe Jalen Hurts, maybe, but other than that, I would still be fine with Burrow at 1.
Agreed.
So remember, the scenario is that all of these quarterbacks are available in the 2025 draft as rookies.
Oh, that's
all
right.
So from the ones that we've mentioned, are there any of those that you would draft before Joe Burrow? Between Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, Will Levis, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Drake May, or Jayden Daniels.
I don't want to. The last two are tricky, but I don't think I could give them an easy definitive yes over Burrow.
All right.
Yeah, I don't want to be a homer or anything. Like Jayden Daniels, I still think is going to be fantastic, but I do think that Joe Burrow can still. I think
he's
Joe Burrow,
the only other first rounder you've given because you put Drake May on a second round pick.
Right. Like I still fully believe that Joe Burrow will wind up being one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at a point as an all timer in terms of this. So I would happily take Burrow there.
Right. I think the one thing that kind of screws Burrow over is that he's playing in the AFC and he keeps running into fucking Kansas City.
Yeah.
Like in Josh Allen, like he's playing in arguably I would put the AFC quarterbacks over the NFC quarterbacks all day long. So he just has a raw deal at it right now.
Yeah, if he had been an NFC quarterback, if he had been like, I don't know, say drafted by the Niners.
Put him in Minnesota with Jay Jettas.
Or put him on the 49ers under Kyle Shanahan's system and everything.
Right.
Like, it would have been, he would have been dominating the NFC and taking it probably every year.
All right, so this next person has had 17 very rough starts in the NFL before forcing Atlanta to say, fuck it, we're not drafting a quarterback to start our season this year. What did we feel about Desmond Ridder?
He was another one of those group of 5 quarterbacks who there's always one every single draft that, he has a great run there in Cincinnati, and he just milked that for all it was worth. And I'd still would take a shot at him at like a 6th round pick, but higher than that, I couldn't do it.
I'm in full agreement on there. I think Ridder should have been like I'll say 6th round pick as well. I think Ridder should have been a 6th round pick. He's got decent backup potential in terms of his talent and skill set, but yeah, he never should have been a starter. Like he was destined to fail with Atlanta.
He was never ready for that.
All right, with 25 starts, this gentleman made his debut under really weird circumstances against the likes of Tom Brady. He is Mr. Irrelevant himself. What do we think of Brock Purdy now?
Oh, he should have been a 2nd round pick, and I knew that going into that because, you saw what he's able to accomplish there in college. When he went that low, I was just waiting those day 3 picks. Like, he's going to come off the board at some point. So when he finally came off the board at Mr. Irrelevant, I knew straight away that offense he was going to in San Francisco, he was going to thrive, and he was going to push Trey Lance out the way.
It's why I tell people to watch and follow seriously 323 College Shame Day and to follow Scott's advice on these college quarterbacks, because I remember leading up to that, you citing Brock Purdy in particular. And I knew of Brock Purdy, but you really put a spotlight on him as a quarterback to watch in that draft. And when I kept seeing him fall, I was like, oh, I don't know, maybe Scott didn't. I don't know what Scott saw.
Got missed.
Got missed on that one. But then San Francisco picked him up. I was like, okay, so maybe that could be maybe they see the potential that Scott saw. But yeah, ever since, dude has shown, I wouldn't say 1st round, but I agree with that. I would say a high second round type of potential for him, because I'd still have slight doubts about how he would play on, let's say he went high in the 1st round and he went to one of those perennially shitty quarterback spots in the Jets or Jags or wherever the fuck. I don't think it would be the same thing. I think he wound up in the perfect zone of San Francisco, and if he had wound up on another team like Minnesota or some other team that is built well and has decent coaching staff, I think he could still have that shot of being a really great quarterback. But he wound up in the perfect spot to fall to the right team. That worked out. So I like Brock Purdy for the 2nd round.
Brock Purdy, 2nd round. All right, we already did Trey Lance.
Trash.
All right, so when this
now
person...
I'm trying to think if I actually would I take Purdy over Burrow?
I mean, you did 2nd round, first, so...
Ooh, yeah, I'll leave it alone. Never mind, I won't go down that rabbit hole.
So far in the 2nd round, Reid has Zach, Brock, and Drake. And for the 2nd round, Scott has...
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
sounds
you
about
put
right.
Drake in the third. So.
Yeah, Drake to me is a very late 2, very early 3, but I would push it to the 3.
Yeah, and now that you brought up that Brock Purdy over Burrow thing, now I'm thinking from like a Washington perspective. If I had to put him on that team, I think I'd still have Burrow, then Jayden, then Purdy, but it's pretty close. I think it's honestly now closer than I thought for Purdy and Jayden, just in terms of the situation.
Purdy was in Sam Howell's draft class, so that would have been the EB system. He would have been behind that line. He would have been throwing 70 attempts per game.
No. Yeah, he would have gotten just swarmed.
That elbow would have been fucked up a lot earlier. All right, so after 53 starts, when this guy flashes, it looks incredible. He made the Dolphins super fun to watch last year, but the headaches seem to be getting to him a lot since his debut. How do we feel about Tua? Did he justify his first-round pick? Over Justin Herbert.
No.
Okay, I'll take first on that one. I think Tua has shown since he got into the McDaniel system what he was supposed to be at Bama, but he still had those frame concerns. He still had the injury concerns because he had that hip injury coming out. So we knew that he was kind of injury prone, yeah, but not with this concussion level. If I knew what I knew now, I would still take Tua late first. I'd take Tua late first for potential and try to immediately teach him how to protect himself.
Yes, I'm right there with you. Late 1, early 2. I would pick him before Jalen, but I would swap him for Jordan Love because Jordan Love was that late 1 pick to Green Bay in that same year.
So 1 as well for you?
I would take late 1.
Okay.
For Tua.
All right, this was my other outlier because I didn't realize he didn't have starts. He just ended up playing a lot. XFL's star Ben DiNucci. It's a 7-round pick. Did he justify that?
That's another one of those 2020 quarterbacks that was drafted. Another one of those guys. No, he late 6, early 7. What did he actually go at?
7.
He went 7. Yeah, he's fine. Leave him there. Leave him there.
Yeah, I'm fine for a late 7th to undrafted. I'm gonna say undrafted. To be honest, just be perfectly happy with an undrafted.
See, I'd be okay with that late 7 simply because that's the one that you're just taking a flyer on. Like you have 0 expectations out of him at that point. But yeah,
I being a practice squad guy.
Yeah, he was drafted 231. He was at the bottom of the barrel at that point. He's fine there. I'm cool with it.
All right, after 24 starts and being traded away, this first-round pick broke headlines with his hand size and got us measuring our own hands on this very show. Kenny Pickett, did he justify his first-round pick? The only quarterback in 2022 to go in the first round.
Reid, I'll let you take that first. I don't want to touch it.
No, I won't say that he justified that. I think a lot of us said from the start that he'd be a decent 2nd to 3rd round pick kind of guy. I still think he can be a competent quarterback. I think he can be a spot starter here and there and like kind of a Jacoby Brissett type of quarterback where you're going to have you can feel confident in him as a backup and then be that gap guy who just takes the hits and takes the lumps from shitty teams while your rookie or whoever young player gets his way going and gets going. So no, I would say I would put him. I'd put him in the 3rd round.
Okay. Yeah, that's another one of those quarterbacks that the stars perfectly aligned for him that season because that was that ACC championship Pittsburgh college football team. He got a lot of TV time kind of thrust upon him, so that kind of helped out. And then, Pittsburgh was kind of in that weird transition period trying to find that quarterback. So, hey, hometown kid, bring him in, hope that can help generate some kind of revenue. But, looking at that 2022 draft and looking at the quarterbacks here, I mean, I would easily put Brock in that 1 to 2 range, and I probably would drop him into that 4 to 5 range for Kenny Pickett. So yeah, 5th round.
4 or 5? 5th?
5.
I think we have a recap on that.
There's Malik. Oh, your mom would really love me. And Ritter. I can throw a country mile. There's Sam Howell. I'm better than Trubisky. And I'm Kenny.
That was a great way to meet the halfway mark. I was going to ask if we had any remarks, how we're feeling about the game, anything we want to bring up before we continue on.
I think Kenny got it for you right there.
Kenny got it.
And I'm Kenny.
All right. So with the 4th round pick, after 10 starts, Scott has him projecting to tie this weekend. How do we feel about Aiden O'Connell?
Oh, gross. I don't have any feelings for Aiden O'Connell. Undrafted. No.
Yeah, I'd say I'm gonna go undrafted for Aiden O'Connell.
That's your first UFA.
It's just somebody who is just if you pick him up and he stars for you a little bit in training camp, he surprises you and makes the roster. It's a feel good story. Like somebody else who I'm pretty sure is going to be coming up, and I just thought about him, but I won't spoil him yet.
All right. Beating out Zach Wilson for the starting job, 1st round pick Bo Nix. How's he doing in Mile High?
Ooh, is it bow time, Scott? I'll take it for you on there. I don't think he should have been a 1st round quarterback. But experience looked great coming out of college, and he's got the skill set. He's old as hell. He's got a veteran mind. I'd say 2nd round for Bo Nix.
Okay.
I still like what I've seen.
That's my big knock for him, is that he is old in rookie football quarterback terms. I mean, he's 24 years old versus, Jayden's right behind him at 23. Caleb Williams, I think, is like 21 or 22. 1 is a slightly too high for me for Bo Nix. I would probably throw him in at like tops 3.
Top 3, okay.
Yeah.
Not the top 3. The 3rd round. Not the top 3. The 3rd round.
Top of the 3rd. All right, so we can finish up the 2024 draft class with the guy that nobody could shut up about in the offseason, Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
Has the water slide justified his 1st round pick?
I will go ahead and already say no. He just wound up in Chicago. I would still call Caleb Williams a 1st rounder. I think he still has all of that potential. I think he has all that skill set. I think he has the mindset. We see a little bit of the Gen Z out of him, at least in college, at least at USC. He wound up in Chicago, man. What can you do? Like, it's the Bears. It's rough. I would take Jayden Daniels over him. And if you're redrafting that class, I would have Caleb as number 2. But I'm not taking Bo Nix over him. I'm not taking Drake May over him. I love his ceiling. I don't love the spot he wound up in.
If this is all these quarterbacks are available in 2025, it sounds like you have Caleb as maybe your 3rd, because the only other people you have is Jayden and Burrow.
To be completely honest, I've got Burrow over him. I've got Jayden over him, and I think I have Purdy over him. To be completely honest, just in terms
of... you have Purdy in the 2nd round.
Do I have Purdy in the 2nd round?
Yeah.
Never mind, I don't have Purdy over him. I have Caleb right there over Purdy, but if we haven't brought up Jalen Hurts yet, right? Correct?
Nope.
I would take Hurts over him too. There's some numbers over him for me.
Yeah, I'm putting Caleb in at the 2nd round.
Wow.
Slightly, and I mean by the most minuscule, minute amount, slightly over Brock, just because he has the frame, the athleticism that you would want out of an NFL quarterback. I haven't seen enough to justify the 1st round just yet.
So he's 2nd round for you?
2nd round, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right. I don't even know how to introduce this guy. He's just one of the victims of the 2022 class. How do we feel about Bailey Zappi? I don't even know where he's at right now.
Oh God, and that's giving you
But
my
he got 8
answer.
starts.
Undrafted. Goodbye.
Yeah, he was way too overhyped. I don't know what the media.
I loved him
and
in
fan
college,
base
but I
was
mean,
doing.
he was playing at It was playing at Western Kentucky. I mean, you're going to be putting up points at Western Kentucky, but no, I'm not wasting draft capital on you.
UFA too. Give me UFA for Bailey Zappi.
And to think he went above Sam Howell, Brock Purdy, and one that we haven't mentioned yet.
Chasing the stats, man.
Oh, man. This guy has been plagued as well. Both seasons he's been in, 4 starts, plagued with injury, currently replaced by Joe Flacco himself. Anthony Richardson.
Oh,
That's Scott's.
Scott,
Ew.
you keep it in first round?
ew, no.
Or you
I
dropping him to the 15th round?
See, he draws so many comparisons to Cam Newton coming out of college. But he deserved to get drafted not in the first round, 5th, tops 5th round. I would have been fine with.
Um,
Ugh.
it's hard for me. I would not first,
Mm-mm.
not second.
Mm-mm.
But he's exceeded what I thought was going to be from him. To be honest, I thought he was going to look like a complete bust. He at least has shown some good quarterback potential
When he gets on the field.
Yeah, when he's on the field, and sometimes that's his fault, sometimes that's his coaching's fault. We saw that last week with Steichen. I'm gonna say 3rd round. I'm gonna say
Okay.
3rd round for Anthony Richardson, just because the potential that he had there, and that would have been a more serviceable spot for him. He should not have been a top 10 pick or top 15 pick in the draft. Like that's somebody that
No.
that's somebody that you draft for potential. Rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo.
Rip.
So far, there is only one person that Reid has put lower than Scott. Everybody else, it's either tied or Reid has them higher in Scotland. If that's
Yeah, and I wish
about our personalities.
And I wish I started keeping track of where I'm putting all these guys.
Yeah,
so that way
I
it gives me a better frame of reference
I'm
where I
keeping
would
everything
slide
in
them in at.
I'm just.
No, I have
throwing
everything on
people
this
all
huge
over.
spreadsheet that I'll send to you guys
Oh
afterwards.
God.
All right, so this person got traded away after 42 starts. Thought he was going to sit behind a veteran and learn a little bit and have some time to grow and develop. But now not only is he starting, he's actually helping win games. Justin Fields. Justify the first pick? I'm also coming up with all these intros on a whim. I'm very proud of myself right now.
I'm gonna say
Ooh.
I'm going the same route as Anthony Richardson because I view him as the same kind of quarterback, except he's managed to stay healthier. I'm saying 3rd round for Justin Fields, just in terms of he's shown me that Ohio State kind of quarterback I can't trust. I can't trust him to perform well consistently, but talent is undeniable. Skill set is undeniable, and he's managed to really show out a little more consistently for Pittsburgh, so it could be a coaching staff or organization type of thing. So I would have liked him to develop more in a better place. So I'll say 3rd round, give him a shot.
Well, Reid knows how I feel about Ohio State quarterbacks. CJ Stroud is the exception to the rule, not the rule itself.
Fuck me off.
Fuck the off Ohio State. And even when he was at college, both at Georgia and Ohio State, I really didn't see enough out of him to justify a 1st round. I think that's just another one of those quintessential Chicago reach picks. 4th round, I probably would put him in.
All right.
I'd be okay with spending a 4th on him.
All right, with 3 starts in the NFL, currently starting for the Miami Dolphins, Skylar Thompson.
Ooh,
Oh.
6.
Oh, you're elevating him.
Yeah, I'll put him at 6.
You got him in the 6?
I'd take him at 6.
Why?
Why not?
Okay.
Because I
Because
said so.
I was gonna say undrafted, but because Scott said so, 6.
After 54 starts, this player was presumed to be the only one of his draft class to be the only starter, but Justin Fields made his resurgence. Did Trevor Lawrence justify the first round?
We had this conversation kind of at length the other day, too. I would say that he's still a justified first rounder. I'd say it's just he went to the absolute worst position and spot of an Urban Meyer unprepared Jacksonville Jaguars team. Even if he had gone to the Jets, I think it would have been a little better off for him. To be completely honest, yeah, I still take Trevor first round. At this point, from what he's shown, it wouldn't be first overall, but I would still say like mid to late first round.
Captain Mid himself. Yeah, I'm looking back through the recesses of my brain right now on who I know I put in the first and second round. And would I take Caleb over him? Would I take Brock over him? Yeah, who do I have in the first and the second round right now?
For the first round, you have Joe Burrow, Tua, and Jayden Daniels. For the second round, you have Brock Purdy and Caleb Williams.
Who do I have in the third?
For the third round, you have Mac Jones, Drake May, and Bo Nix.
Third. I'd put him in that group. I don't think anyone that you named in the first or second round, I would take him over at this point.
Now, if he had wound up with like Mike McDaniel, right? We saw how Mike McDaniels treated Tua and tried to rehabilitate his confidence from a coach that was shitty for everybody in Brian Flores and that experience. Do you think that it would have changed Trevor for the better to get some, like, let's say Mike McDaniel went to Jacksonville instead of Doug Peterson, like, would that have altered the look on Trevor Lawrence?
I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, right? I mean, we all will be that Monday morning armchair quarterback at the end of the day, and yeah, you could make the argument that he probably would succeed a little bit more in a Mike McDaniel run offense over a Dougie P or Urban Meyer offense. I mean, he was stellar in college, but I think that speaks more to the state of college football and where it was at that point. And Dabo was coaching that team that was star-studded from top to bottom there in Clemson. Did he get a raw deal going to Jacksonville? Absolutely. But even what I've seen from him in his fourth season now in the league. So yeah, I mean, he's what you want. He's reliable to a certain extent. I mean, he's passing for over 60% completion rating, throughout the last 4 years. I mean, wins and losses you can't really put on him totally at this point. But I mean, he's a perfectly serviceable quarterback. He's just mid. And when I hear mid, I hear number 3.
Speaking of mid, this guy could have started a dynasty with a interim coach of Jeff Saturday, but that did not play out as well as anyone anticipated. And now we have Shane Steichen. How'd you guys feel about 6th round pick with 3 starts Sam Ellinger?
Oh, undrafted. I didn't even like him in Texas.
I liked him at Texas. I liked him at Texas. I liked him for a 7th round quarterback. I thought he should have been like or late 6th, but I'll say
you're demoting him.
Yes, I'm to demote him. I'd say 7th round quarterback and just see what you get with him.
All right.
That's kind of what happened.
2nd round pick, 55 starts, squats 600 pounds, and birthed the tush push. How are we feeling about Jalen Hurts?
I'm fine with 2nd round. I think that's a perfectly, safe bet. I mean, is he higher than the 2 that I have in the 2nd round right now? Probably not, but I would put him in that category with the 2 that I know that are in the 2nd round.
In terms of leadership, skill set, and just like not only what I've seen from him with the Eagles, but also how he performed at Oklahoma and Bama, I would still, if I have to look at who I put in the first, also, like, I'd take him over Purdy. and I would take him over what I've seen of Caleb Williams, and I would have taken him over Caleb Williams in that draft class. So, yeah, first rounder for Jalen Hurts for me.
All right.
I will put the justification on there. He would be a very high second for me.
Okay. He'd be somebody too, like I think like a lot of teams, like you would consider, if you had known about him now, then like you would consider him at the very least as like one of those, like, let me get up to 31 or 32 just so I can
trade into the back end of the first round.
So I can get the fifth year option on him.
That's fair. All right, so despite being a first-round pick, this person only has 20 starts in the NFL because he spent a good amount of time sitting behind a veteran. Jordan Love, did he justify his first round in the few times that we've seen him?
I mean, we've only had, what, a one season of a really good look at him, right? But I still feel like I would put him... I still think I would put him over Caleb Williams and Brock. I feel like a late first is still fine. I mean, especially with what he's been able to accomplish with the pieces he has around him. I mean, he has a bunch of nobodies in the wide receiver room who are all making names for themselves now, especially after last season.
Who are my first and second rounders, Sue?
In the first round, you have Burrow, Tua, Jalen, Trevor, Caleb, and Jayden. And in the second, you have Zach, Purdy, Drake May, and Bo Nix.
Jesus Christ, I just realized I put Zach in the second round.
Yeah, that's why when you said that, I was like, you're fucking high.
I would still... I would put Jordan in the second round just because I would take him in the second round just as somebody, you know, he needed that development time too. And he's shown me more. Fuck it, I'm putting him in the first round. Give me Jordan Love in the first round. First round. I'm saying
he would be, like you said about the previous quarterback, he's one, if you're at the tail end of that first round, you're trying to find a way back in so you can get that fifth year option.
Right. He's perfect for that.
All right. So wrapping up the 2021 draft candidates, third round pick, 26 starts, the Houston long neck himself, Davis Mills.
Ooh.
Oof. I forgot about Davis Mills. He was decent for a tank commander kind of quarterback, like somebody that you just throw in. Like, he did more than I expected him to. I'd say sixth round for Davis Mills to me.
Yeah, sixth round. I can't justify a third round pick on him.
No.
Okay. All right.
Actually, I want to look at his stats now. The neck. What was his stats?
It was a big neck, man. It was a long neck.
Oh yeah, 6 is perfectly fine for that last season. That last full season he had in Houston. 3,000 yards, 17 for 15 touchdown to interception ratio. Like, it's you expect those numbers out of a competent backup lifer.
He's the perfect guy to get you your guy. He will get you your guy later.
All right, being benched after 18 starts, this organization has an owner that is fighting for arguably the shittiest person in the NFL. Bryce Young, did he justify his first pick?
No, he didn't justify first. He didn't justify first pick. He didn't justify first round to me. He didn't strike me as first round even then, just because of size. Like, I'm scared of his size, and it's been on display too. Like, just getting his shit batted down. He was getting bullied the last time we saw him. So I wouldn't say he's first round. I wouldn't say he's second round. I think that there's a potential to develop something there, but the size also still scares me and concerns me. I'd put him third. I'd put him in the third round just to see what you get out of it. But even then, that's like a late near the end of the third round, and I'm being very kind.
Yeah, and I mean, if Reid, if either one of you guys remember, my hot take after this draft was stating that either Bryce or CJ were going to be completely irrelevant in the NFL within 3 years. And we're starting to see that with Bryce Young. I wouldn't go any higher than a fourth round on him. even with what I knew how he played coming out of college. And now I'm still not risking anything more than a 4 on him, just to see what he can do.
So wrapping up 2023, we are going with the guy who followed Bryce Young and is having a complete opposite experience down in Houston. Did CJ Stroud justify the first round?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'd argue that I probably would take him over Burrow.
I'd argue that too.
Ooh.
I would argue that too, to be completely honest with you.
Interesting. And wrapping up 2022 quarterbacks in the game entirely, first round pick with 66 starts, has another head coach, another offense to learn. Justin Herbert, did he justify his first round pick?
I put him in that Jordan Love category where if he's available like towards the end of the first round, you're probably going to try to trade up to grab him. But I would put him in 2.
Okay.
I would keep him in the first. I think he's displayed everything since he's been in the pros. A lot of it has been a team issue. Like you couldn't help having Brandon Staley as his head coach.
Your boy.
Yeah, our boy Brandon Staley as his head coach. I think Herbert is. Where would I put him? I'd put him over. I put him over
Brock.
I put him over
Caleb.
Yeah, I'd put him over Brock. I'd put him over Caleb. I'd put him over Trevor. I'd put him over.
I have him tied with Love. That they're right there neck and neck. I would be completely happy with either one of those two or the highest quarterback that I have left on the board, and I'm picking up next. And I need that quarterback. I'd be perfectly fine. It's a coin toss for me for those two.
Yeah, because I think, honest to God, I'm looking at Burrow, Stroud. And then I haven't seen enough from Jayden compared to Herbert to say I'd take Jayden over Herbert. So I'd put I think I'd have Herbert at third, and then Jayden.
All right. Well, that wraps up everybody that we have from 2020 until now. So I'll do a quick recap of where you guys placed everybody and what these rounds look like. Because we've spent so much time on this, I would love to see what everyone's official ranking on this could be. But maybe we can, if you guys aren't up for it tonight, maybe you could sit on it and try to come up with a list, and we can touch on it next week. See if the listeners want to make their own list and their own ranking. See if maybe the listeners want to add into this list and see where they rank these guys. How do you guys feel about that?
I'm gonna start typing up my list now.
I like that. Yeah, I think
I'll send this to you.
If you send it to me, I'd like to sit on it, and I might have some second.
You know what, let me send it right now. Now that we've gone through the list.
Ooh, yes.
Fucking send it.
Link. Go to Messenger. Wet and Wild. Oh, that was the wrong thing to send.
I thought this was Angela's house for a second, Reid. I saw on Facebook.
You what?
Angela posted a picture of the Dallas Cowboys in skeleton gear, or skeletons and Cowboys gear on Facebook. I thought that was her house for a second.
Okay, so there's the notes. You guys can open that up and take a peek at the list. So for the first round in the 2025 NFL Draft, the quarterbacks that were selected for Reid are Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Justin Herbert, Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, skipping all over 2022, CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, and Jayden Daniels. While Scott has Joe Burrow, Tua Tagovailoa, Jordan Love, skipping all of 2021, skipping all of 2022, going down to CJ Stroud, and then finishing with Jayden Daniels. In the second round, for Reid, we have Zach Wilson, Brock Purdy, a lot of scrolling I gotta go through, Drake May and Bo Nix. And for the second, Scott has Justin Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, and Caleb Williams. For the third round, Reid has Justin Fields, Kenny Pickett, Bryce Young, and Anthony Richardson, while Scott has Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, Drake May and Bo Nix. For the 4th, we have for Reid, Mac Jones, and Will Levis. Hell, you can do your ranking for that right now. Who goes higher, Mac Jones or Will Levis?
Jones. It has to be Jones. You say Levis over Jones, you're silly.
Levis.
Wow.
And for Scott, we have Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Sam Howell, Bryce Young, and Will Levis. For the 5th on Reid, we are at no one? Oh yeah, no quarterbacks drafted in the 5th round.
5th round
Reid's-
for punks.
Oh no, Dorian Thompson-Robinson,
Reid's-
excuse me.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson's a punk.
I was going to say Reid's 5th round picks are exclusively guards.
Meanwhile, Scott has Kenny Pickett, Anthony Richardson, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, and that's it for that. On the 6th for Reid, we have Davis Mills, Desmond Ridder, Malik Willis, Skylar Thompson, and Scott's got Davis Mills, Desmond Ridder, Skylar Thompson. That was a pretty matched up list. And finishing up the 2025 quarterbacks. In the 7th round, we have Ben DiNucci, Sam Ellinger, Trey Lance, and Scott's got Ben DiNucci. And that's it. Signed
Ben
after the
DiNucci.
draft was Bailey Zappi and Aiden O'Connell for Reid. And for Scott, we have Trey Lance, Sam Ellinger, Malik Willis, Bailey Zappi, and Aiden O'Connell.
Dropping Trey Lance from the 1st round to undrafted is absolute wildness.
That's where I had him even going into the draft that year. I didn't
traded
have
up
him
for him,
drafted
too.
at all. That was the dumbest move ever. Ooh, Primetime Kirk is putting on a showing right now.
We have 30 quarterbacks. I want to, in my free time, I'm going to put these with an NFL team. Like, if all of these guys had to start
Oh god.
That's
with their respective team right now.
that should be part 2 of the
Oh
game.
god.
I liked it.
Yeah, I want to see your rankings of how you guys put the people in your classes. I'll try to see how
It
the
wasn't letting
NFL
me
looks if
opening
all
it.
these were starting quarterbacks.
It wasn't letting me opening it.
Oh, it'd probably only let you open on your phone since it was like my Apple Notes app.
Oh yeah, I signed into iCloud on my computer. Let me do it.
Let him look at it.
I just want to look at it, or even screenshot it. Something. I just want to look at it.
I can send you a screenshot. I just have to scroll.
Ooh.
No, I won't even have
Mike,
to scroll.
Mike Evans with 2 touchdowns tonight. Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh yeah. All these
Mikey.
touchdown passes have been beautiful.
Because Baker's beautiful.
All right, well, I hope
MVP.
you guys liked that game. I hope the listeners actually want to play it and figure out where they would put these people.
Ooh.
And yeah, this would have been a very interesting 2025 draft class.
Ooh.
You got to
This-
sign. You got to sign off now because I think this was like this. This will be like its own show now. That's gonna come out as like its own episode. Little bonus.
Oh,
here.
I'm
So
just
you-
going to stick with my animation deliberation sign out. Hope you guys like the show. And as always, stay whelmed.
It's perfectly whelmed.
Stay perfectly well.
Perfectly
overwhelmed.
whelmed.
Don't be underwhelmed. Just be whelmed.
And I'm Ken.